I was thrilled to attend the wedding, but then my daughter-in-law revealed, we got married yesterday. The words hung in the air like a heavy stone, deflating the joy that had filled the banquet hall just moments before. Jake felt his heart race, a rush of heat flooding his cheeks. The laughter and toasts meant to celebrate his son's happiness evaporated into a thick silence, leaving shock and confusion in their wake. How could Emily, the spirited woman who had brightened their lives, drop such a bombshell at the very moment they gathered to celebrate a new beginning? Guests shifted uncomfortably in their seats, the air taut with disbelief. Jake's mind swirled with chaos. His values, his family's traditions, suddenly questioned in an instant. He could see Ryan standing beside Emily, a mixture of pride and uncertainty etched on his face. A wave of betrayal washed over Jake. All these years, he had known them both, trusted them, and now this? His chest tightened, emotions colliding like a freight train. The whispers began, a murmur rising like fog, wrapping around them, infiltrating the once happy atmosphere. Did you hear? How could they? Jake barely registered the sounds as he wrestled with confusion and pain. Doubt crept in, clawing at the corners of his heart. Had he failed as a father, trusting too deeply, loving too freely? Could he not look his son in the eye and be proud? Ryan stepped forward, his hand on Emily's shoulder, sensing the discontent brewing. It was supposed to be a surprise. His words fell flat, lost in the sea of disapproval. Jake wanted to yell, to shake him awake from this delusion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night dragged on, the music played on, but Jake felt stuck in a moment he couldn't escape. His heart thudded like a drum, the beats echoing his rising frustration and despair. How dare they keep something so big from him? He had spent years teaching Ryan about honesty, about the weight of family loyalty. Where had he gone wrong? Across the room, Jake caught sight of Emily's bright face, the woman who had shared countless dinners with them, who felt like family. Was she really weighing their happiness so lightly? He grappled with questions, battling the growing anger and deep sorrow rising within him. He paced the perimeter of the hall, each step heavier than the last, and yet, amidst the chaos, a flicker of understanding crept in. Maybe this was their attempt to embrace change, to rewrite their story on their own terms. His family was evolving, and perhaps he needed to, too. The foundations of their relationships trembled around him, a silent invitation to reconsider everything he thought he knew. That he stopped, inhaling deeply, confronting the conflict within. Could he forgive? Could he learn to adapt? As he stood before the crowd, their faces a mix of curiosity and sympathy, the anticipation of resolution hung palpably in the air. Jake faced a daunting question: would he shut them out, or could he learn to embrace the new path they forged? The night was still young, leaving his heart and their relationships swirling with possibilities, each moment pregnant with unspoken hope. Jake took a deep breath, the weight of uncertainty blending with the sounds of laughter and awkward chatter around the hall. The moment felt frozen in time, yet everything outside spiraled forward, a cruel reminder that life wouldn't pause for his discomfort. Catching a glimpse of Ryan, Jake felt a tug at his heart. There stood his son, eyes shining, innocence brushing the edges of a decision that had rocked Jake's world. What did he see in this moment? Could he still recognize the boy he raised and the man he had become? The pride on Ryan's face shifted to a tight mask of worry as he stared at his father, desperate for acceptance or understanding. Dad? Ryan's voice cut through the noise, trembling slightly. Can we talk? The room felt smaller as Jake nodded, unsure of what he could say. They stepped outside, the coolness of the night air washing over them, an unspoken palpitating space waiting to be filled. Why didn't you tell me? Jake finally blurted, struggling for composure once more. The frustration in his voice cracked but made way for a trembling honesty. This is big, Ryan. We had a plan, we talked about it for years. I know. Ryan's voice was strained, the fight he had had for this happiness spilling out. But we wanted it to be special, not just about the wedding. Isn't that more important than the how? Jake felt his heart sink. More important than family? The question hung heavy between them. For us, it is. Ryan insisted, stepping closer. We wanted something that was just ours, something separate from the expectations. Don't you understand? This was about breaking free from everything that didn't fit us anymore. It felt like what? Jake interrupted, his voice sharp with disbelief. Like leaving me behind? Like keeping secrets from your family? The anger threatened to consume him. Ryan looked crushed. This isn't about you, Dad. It's about our journey. His tone softened now, chasing the sharpness away. I thought you of all people would understand. Jake rubbed his temples, caught between being a father and being a believer in family. Ryan, I just wanted to be a part of it. I don't care about traditions as much as I care about being there. Ryan's shoulders eased slightly, hope creeping into the lines of his worried face. Then let us own this together. Accept it for what it is. This doesn't have to change us. Jake's heart ached. But it does. It shakes everything I thought I knew. We are still us, Dad, Ryan replied softly, reaching out for his father's arm. Can you try to see that? Jake couldn't help but feel a tidal wave of conflicting emotions wash over him. Acceptance felt like an insurmountable climb, but something within him stirred a glint of hope that maybe this was an invitation, not a prison. The music drummed on, filtering through the open door, a distant celebration of love and choices. A part of him longed to retreat to the familiar sound of laughter, but another part yearned to embrace this fragile moment of truth with his son. As he searched Ryan's earnest face, Jake suddenly felt the rush of possibilities unfurling before him, filled with questions more profound than anger or hurt. Was he ready to take that step into the unknown? Maybe I can try, Jake whispered, each word a leap of faith into unfamiliar territory, and then, just as a flicker of light filled the dark corners of his heart, a distant shout echoed from within the hall. How could they do that? They aren't even engaged. Jake's stomach dropped again. The family's eyes were still on them, waiting to see how this night would unfold. Would he stand beside his son in acceptance, or would they both drown beneath the weight of familial expectations? The air grew thick with tension as Jake's eyes darted back to the hall. He could already sense the whispers trailing like shadows behind him, unsure if they were directed at him or Ryan. The laughter from the party suddenly felt like an echo from a distant world, one that didn't understand the reality shattering around them. Dad, focus on me. Ryan's voice cut through the haze, a lifeline in a turbulent sea. Jake turned back to his son, searching those familiar features for guidance. I just need a moment, Jake stammered, his heart racing. This is overwhelming. I know, Ryan replied. But we can't let them take this from us. This is our moment, Dad. Please. The plea in Ryan's eyes made Jake's insides twist. It was the raw truth shimmering in the candlelight that broke through Jake's defenses. I'm here, Jake whispered, trying to summon the strength he felt slowly slipping away. I want to be here. Just give me time. Ryan took a deep breath, visibly relaxing. That's all I'm asking. No matter what anyone thinks, this is ours to shape. As moments passed, the distant murmurs grew louder, punctuated by disapproving glances and sideways looks. A small group of family members, Jake's brother included, hovered nearby, the disbelief etched on their faces. Did they really just get married yesterday? Jake's brother's words split the air like a clap of thunder, drawing the attention of everyone around. Jake felt Ryan's grip tighten, a silent communication of solidarity amidst the impending storm. It's okay, Ryan urged, stepping forward slightly, shoulders squared. Let them talk. The chill in Jake's heart resonated with his brother's words. Ryan, what if we can't just keep running from it, Dad? Ryan's voice grew firmer, blending his determination with an underlying fear. They will know regardless. Let us take control of this narrative before it runs wild. Jake exhaled sharply, the weight of his brother's doubt and the discomfort of the surrounding tension crashing over him like a wave. Would those looks transform into judgment? Or worse, pity? But as he looked into Ryan's eyes, he saw a flicker of something he hadn't recognized before: courage. Okay, Jake said finally, a sense of acceptance rising in him. Let us face them together. Ryan nodded, a spark igniting in his previously anxious expression. Jake felt the resolve strengthen between them. It pulsed like a tiny flame that needed nurturing. As they turned to walk back into the hall, their pace synchronized, something within Jake shifted. For the first time, he saw the decor around them differently: the balloons, the soft pastels, the celebratory energy that once seemed foreign pierced through the fog of his doubts. It was a wedding, a celebration of love, of choices made that intertwined destinies. But just as they entered, their presence drew attention like moths to a flame. The clamor paused, as the music faded against the gravity in the room. Murmurs cascaded down the table, filled with confusion and disbelief. Do you really think this is right? A voice broke free, laden with scorn. It was Aunt Marge, her furious glare like ice on Jake's back. The question hung heavy in the air, echoing louder than wedding bells ever could. In that moment, Jake's heart raced. How would he respond? Would they face rejection or receive understanding? As he felt Ryan's hand brush against his, he knew they could navigate this together, but his mind lingered on that last sentiment of hope. Would acceptance come? And at what cost? Jake took a tentative step forward, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The murmurs faded into a hollow silence, each pair of eyes trained on him and Ryan. He could feel the weight of their expectations pressing down, a tangible force that threatened to crush him. Do I think this is right? He finally echoed Aunt Marge's question, his voice steadier than he felt. What I think is this is about love. Love is the core of why we're all here, isn't it? He glanced around the room, daring to meet their gazes one by one. Ryan's grip on his hand tightened, a steadying force, as if their bond could shield them against the judgments swirling in the air. The flicker of hope sparked in Jake's chest, urging him to embrace that undeniable truth. Yes, we got married yesterday, he continued, the words flooding out as if once spoken, he wouldn't be able to retract them. And that wasn't an easy choice for us. But it was our choice. Aunt Marge scoffed, crossing her arms tightly. And you think that's just going to make everything okay? What about the family? What about tradition? The nerves churned in Jake's stomach, but he pressed on. Tradition is important, but it's not the only thing that matters. It shouldn't overshadow who we are as a family now and who we choose to love. He could feel the heat rising in the room, the energy crackling in a way that was both terrifying and exhilarating. The eyes that once scrutinized felt less like daggers and more like mirrors reflecting his own fear and resolve. Ryan faced Aunt Marge squarely, the boy's voice cutting through the tension. You want us to be honest, right? This is us being honest. We chose love, and we chose each other. Isn't that what you taught us all those years? A few heads nodded, softening the perimeter of doubt that had surrounded them. Surely, there's more to family than just what you expect it to be, Jake added, searching the faces in the crowd. What about support? Understanding? Isn't that what family is for? Suddenly, a soft voice broke the tension. It was Grandma, a gentle smile creeping across her face. You're right, Jake, she said, her tone calming. It's not just about our traditions, but about the evolution of our family. Love is always the foundation. The murmurings shifted, a ripple of acceptance melding into the room's atmosphere. Jake's heart swelled at Grandma's words as she rose from her seat, the older lady representing an unyielding strength he had always admired. He couldn't shake the hope blooming inside him, the idea that perhaps acceptance was within reach, but just as he began to feel the stirring warmth of camaraderie, Jake's brother chimed in. But what if this is just the beginning of a much bigger mess? His voice was thick with apprehension, a stark contrast to the budding hope around them. As the weight of doubt seeped back in with those words, Jake's thoughts spiraled. Would they face something far larger than this moment? Could he and Ryan navigate the complexities of family and love emerging from turmoil? Jake turned to Ryan, their eyes locking as unspoken words passed between them. Together, they could confront whatever came. They had to. Those shadows loomed ahead, there was light flickering in the distance, and as the crowd looked on, the unasked question lingered in the air: where would this journey of acceptance lead them next? Jake felt the tension in the room like a living thing, coiling around him, squeezing tighter with each of his brother's words. It was almost painful to listen as a wave of uncertainty washed over the crowd. He looked at Grandma, who was still advocating for understanding, and Aunt Marge, whose eyebrows pinched together in clear disapproval. How could they advocate for family while still seeming to hold the keys to acceptance so tightly? "Brent, stop," Ryan urged, his voice surprisingly firm. "You can't act like this is the end of the world just because it's different. You think we didn't struggle with that? We did. But this is our life." Brent's jaw tightened, and Jake could see the turmoil beneath the surface. It wasn't just about tradition for him, it was about fear. Fear of change and the unknown that followed. "What you're doing is going against everything we were taught," Brent said, his voice rising. "You've always been a part of this family. Now you're walking away from it." His statement hung in the air like a challenge, and Jake could feel the eyes of everyone in the room shifting back to him. Walking away? Jake felt the heat in his cheeks. "I'm standing here. Right now, in front of all of you, loving Ryan. I'm not walking away, I'm building something new." His heart raced. Was he convincing them, or just convincing himself? Brent shook his head, incredulous. "But love isn't enough. What about the future? What if you have kids? Are you ready for all that? You're young. This is reckless." Each word hit Jake like a cold splash. The future, he and Ryan had talked about it, dreamed about it, but plans felt so fragile under scrutiny. Why can't love be the foundation for everything? Why can't it create the kind of family we can all be proud of? An awkward silence tumbled into the space, broken only by Grandma's voice again, soft yet commanding. "Love is the strongest foundation, my dear. But you have to be willing to face storms together too." Jake nodded, heart swelling and sinking at the same time. He understood now. It wasn't just about acceptance, it was about commitment in the face of adversity. Ryan stepped forward, taking a breath that seemed to expand the room. "We are committed. We don't see ourselves as abandoning traditions, we see ourselves as evolving to meet them. Families can change, and they can still be strong." The murmurs resumed, shifting cautiously, as if testing out ideas that had been buried for too long. A shared glance between spouses, hesitant nods, curious questions bubbling up into the spice of their discussions. "Will you even be happy?" Aunt Marge asked sharply, though Jake could see her resolve wavering a little. "Happy?" Jake paused, searching for the truth in his own heart. "I can't guarantee happiness without struggle. But I can guarantee love and support." Aunt Marge's eyes softened for a fleeting moment, but Jake knew it wasn't enough yet. He turned back to the crowd, feeling the pressure of their gazes once more. "You know what?" He raised his voice a notch. "We want to be here, as we are. Just let us show you who we can be." The room held its breath, waiting, hearts beating in silent unison. Then, as if on cue, Ryan squeezed Jake's hand tighter, anchoring him, grounding him. What if they took that leap together? What if this next step, this journey of acceptance, led to healing? Brent exhaled sharply, the tension floating away as doubts mingled with uncertainty. Jake felt the shift, felt hearts opening a little wider. But in that fragile moment of hope, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just a prelude. "What if," he whispered to Ryan, "this is only the beginning of much larger conversations? Can we weather every storm ahead?" The air thrummed with potential, heavy with an unspoken question. Would they really find harmony amidst the storm, or was this just a fleeting moment of peace before the chaos resumed? Jake's heart beat in sync with the silence that enveloped the room. He could almost feel the unseen barriers hovering above them, walls built from years of tradition and unspoken fears. It was strange how familial love often got tangled with expectations, and yet here he was, offering a glimpse of a different path. Ryan gave him an encouraging nod, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of hope and trepidation. They both knew that this moment could either break them or build a bridge. What if we could show you that a family can be more than just a reflection of the past? Ryan interjected, his voice steady. We want to include everyone in this journey. We need your support, now more than ever. Aunt Marge's expression faltered, her brows slightly de-wrinkling. It's not that I don't want to support you, Jake. It's scary to think about the future. I don't want to see you hurt. Her voice softened, vulnerability seeping into her words, tension rolled back again, and Jake took a deep breath. I get that, he responded, warmth flooding his tone. But isn't it also scary to think about shutting us out? Imagine all the moments we could make together, even if it's different from what we thought. Isn't that worth it? I never expected to feel this way, Grandma interjected, her brows lifted with a mix of pride and concern. I always thought tradition would keep us together. But maybe it's love is the real thread. Jake looked around the room, gauging their expressions. There were nods of reluctant agreement, whispers filling the space as family members exchanged glances steeped in realization. He felt a flicker of hope lighting up his chest as the atmosphere began to shift. Let us just take it one step at a time, Ryan suggested, his hands still clasped around Jake's. We might stumble, and that's okay. We just need to commit to lifting each other up when we do. Brent ran a hand through his hair, clearly grappling with his thoughts. I just want you both to be happy. Can you guarantee that you won't run away from each other when things get tough? Life's tough, Brent, Jake replied, his gaze unwavering. But running isn't an option. We'll face whatever comes together. The air seemed lighter, the cracks in the wall of resistance slowly widening. A collective breath was released, shared amongst the gathered family members, almost like a sigh of relief, but just then, Aunt Marge's phone vibrated on the table, breaking the fragile energy in the room. She picked it up, her face mottling from confusion to shock. Oh dear, this can't be right. What is it? Jake asked, a tug of anxiety flickering in his gut. It's Sarah, Aunt Marge said, glancing up, her voice trembling. She just got married yesterday in secret. Jake's chest tightened, suddenly feeling dizzy with implications. Questions raced through his mind, spiraling out of control. What could this possibly mean? How would it change everything? Was this another storm brewing on the horizon? Ryan exchanged a bewildered glance with Jake, their interconnected emotions woven even tighter now, curiosity laced with dread. Wait, what? Brent questioned, leaning forward, his earlier doubts forgotten in the shock of new revelations. As chaos erupted around them, a swirl of questions and confusion, Jake felt his world tilt precariously. Could Ryan and him find their footing amidst their family's upheaval? Jake squeezed Ryan's hand again, feeling the strength in that connection. Somehow, they had to steer through this new storm together, learning and growing. It was just the beginning, but who knew what was ahead? Will our families bond through this news, or will it tear us apart? Jake wondered, swallowed by nervous uncertainty. Everything felt on the edge of unraveling. Yesterday? Jake echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. The room had transformed from a place of tentative understanding to one filled with the sharp crackle of disbelief. Questions spiraled in his brain, each one like a firecracker bursting inside him. Sarah was always the wild card. But to marry in secret? His family was fracturing before his eyes. Who is she even marrying? Brent asked, disbelief painting his words as he turned to Aunt Marge. This isn't common practice, I know. Aunt Marge cut in, her eyes wide. She was scrambling for answers, her fingers trembling on the table. But Sarah has always been so unpredictable. I thought she'd come to us first. I didn't think she'd go behind our backs. Jake's heart sank as he realized how this news could shatter the delicate bridge they were trying to build. They hadn't even begun to address their own truths, and now, this bombshell upended everything. This isn't just about her, Grandma said, clutching her pearls as if they were a lifeline. We need to stand together as a family right now. How will this affect us? Jake, you and Ryan, Mom, we can't turn this into a bigger issue than it already is, Ryan interjected, his voice calm but strained. We need to support Sarah, not condemn her. She clearly felt she couldn't share this with us. Support her? Brent shook his head, incredulous. She went off and did something that could affect all of us, and she didn't think to tell her family? How do we support that? Jake felt the tug of conflict tightening around him. Brent, maybe she felt she wouldn't be supported. Maybe she was scared of how we would react like how we're reacting now. The words felt heavy. He didn't want to side with Sarah, he wanted to defend the fragile understanding they were grasping at. Still, Aunt Marge replied, her voice shaking, this is not how we do things. There's a way to honor family. It's about tradition. Ryan's hand tightened around Jake's, a warm reminder of their own commitment. Tradition is important, he said slowly, but it shouldn't come at the expense of love. Maybe Sarah thinks she's doing what's best for her. Or maybe she's running, Brent scoffed. The increasing tension in the air felt suffocating as no one seemed to know where to place their anger or sympathy. Jake had never seen Brent so riled up. Look, let's just stop throwing accusations, Jake said, feeling the weight of their shared uncertainty. We need to hear from Sarah. If she loves someone enough to get married, maybe she deserves a chance for understanding. Understanding? At a price of family drama? Aunt Marge protested, her voice breaking. Sadness spilled from her like a fragile vase knocked over. Jake could see the tears glittering in her eyes. Can't we all just allow her to explain herself? Grandma interjected, softening her tone, sensing the emotional fight escalating higher. What if she has found something or someone who makes her feel more at home than we could? As Jake listened to the shifting tones of hope and despair, he realized this wasn't just about Sarah anymore. It was about all of them. Their fears were digging deep roots, but so was the possibility for healing. He leaned into Ryan for support, sharing a determined look. But just as that flickering hope ignited, Aunt Marge's phone buzzed again, causing the air to freeze in an exhale of dread. Another message from Sarah, she said, and the hesitation in her voice grew palpable. She wants to meet and she's bringing someone. Jake's heart raced. Who could it be? Would this person pull them apart more than they already were? Or would they be the one catalyst finally to bridge their generational gap? As the truth loomed just out of reach, Jake felt the intense weight of possibility pressing down like storm-heavy clouds. Their reunion had already made a promise to be about choices and future, but now, it felt like everything was at stake. Can we hold on long enough for the truth? Jake wondered, uncertainty creeping in. What if meeting this person drove them all further apart? The silence in the room was deafening as everyone processed the news. The buzz of Aunt Marge's phone hung in the air like a warning bell. Jake could feel his palms sweating, his heart racing. He locked eyes with Ryan, who looked just as anxious. Should we get ready to meet her? Ryan asked, a slight tremor in his voice. The uncertainty of the situation lingered like a mist that wouldn't lift. Yeah, we should. Jake replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. They needed to face this together. As they stood up from the table, the bustling sounds of the kitchen faded into an eerie quiet. Jake's mind raced, a whirlwind of thoughts collided, and suddenly, the promise of love and acceptance they were fighting for felt so fragile. Aunt Marge glanced at the clock, her face a mix of dread and anticipation. I can't believe she's bringing someone. It was as if the very idea struck her like a physical blow. Everyone sensed the tension in her voice. That doubt hung in the air, casting a shadow over what should have been a joyous occasion. Brent paced along the room, running a hand through his hair. What if this person isn't good for her? What if they're a mistake? Every accusation seemed to bring a new wave of discomfort. Jake felt it too, the weight of what could go wrong. Or what if they make her happier than we ever could? Grandma asked softly, her gaze drifting to the window as if she could sense Sarah approaching at any moment. That's exactly it, Ryan interjected. She deserves to explore her path, even if it's not what we expected. He squeezed Jake's hand tighter, grounding him amidst the storm. Just then, the doorbell rang, and Jake's heart skipped. The door swung open to reveal Sarah standing there. She looked nervous but resolute, a fierce glow to her determination. And at her side stood a tall figure, someone Jake had never seen before. Sarah. Aunt Marge breathed, her voice quivering with a mixture of relief and anxiety as if finding a lost child. Everyone froze, eyes darting between Sarah and the stranger beside her. Before anyone could say anything, Sarah stepped forward. "Thank you for agreeing to meet us." Her voice quaked with emotion, catching in her throat. "I know this is a lot for you all," but the stranger next to her cleared his throat, his presence demanding attention. "I'm Ethan." He extended his hand, a friendly smile on his face, but there was a hint of uncertainty in his eyes. Jake studied him closely. He had a warm demeanor, but the slight shadow of insecurity loomed behind his smile. "Nice to meet you," Jake said softly. "Ethan as well, he's special," Sarah continued, her eyes brightening with hope. "He makes me feel understood, like I've finally found someone who sees me." There was a collective intake of breath in the room. It was that moment, an intersection of vulnerability and expectation. Jake felt the weight of everyone's emotions, Brent's disbelief, Aunt Marge's terror, Grandma's cautious optimism. "Understand me, please," Sarah urged, desperation creeping into her voice as if the whole world hinged on their acceptance. "I didn't mean to hide anything from you all. I was scared." "Scared of us?" Brent's voice was sharp, slicing through the tension like a knife. "Yes," Sarah exclaimed, and it seemed the walls started to close in around her. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. You know how hard family things have been. I came here to be honest, not stir up more chaos." Jake felt his stomach twist. He glanced at Ryan, who nodded subtly, a silent agreement to find common ground. "Sarah," Jake began, trying to keep his voice steady despite the surge of emotions swirling within him. "We were just starting to understand each other. But can you tell us why now? Why did you wait?" As Sarah opened her mouth to respond, a small spark of courage ignited in her eyes. But before she could speak, Ethan shifted closer to her, placing his hand on her back, a gesture of solidarity, yet a reminder of the tension that lay ahead. Jake held his breath, feeling the gravity of the moment. They were about to navigate a labyrinth of choices and truths. Would this be a healing exchange, or would it unravel into chaos? With the stage set for revelations, could they push past their fears to embrace what was to come? Would this one conversation truly bridge the divide? The weight of uncertainty filled the air, leaving everyone poised on the edge of understanding. Jake watched Sarah's mouth work to form the words, the tension in the air palpable as if they were all holding their breath underwater. He could feel his heart thumping in his chest, an eager hope battling against the fear of disappointment. I wanted to wait because she hesitated, biting her lip. "I didn't want to bring someone into the middle of the mess we've been through. I thought if I could sort through my feelings first, it would be easier for everyone to accept." Ethan gave her a gentle nudge, a silent encouragement. "And I promised to stand by her," he chimed in, his voice steady but soft. "I just want to support her, no matter what." "But it's not just about you too," Brent interjected, a fire igniting in his chest. He stepped forward, gesturing animatedly. "She's our family. You're asking us to accept this, like we're just supposed to roll with it." The hurt shimmered in Sarah's eyes. "I never wanted to hurt anyone. I feel more alive with Ethan. I thought you'd be happy for me, that you'd understand." Grandma lowered her gaze, her expression compassionate yet conflicted. "It's not that we don't want you to be happy, dear. It's just, change is hard for us. You've always been our Sarah. We worry that this new direction will pull you away." Jake placed himself between Sarah and Brent, sensing the storm brewing. "We've all grown up with our ideas of what family looks like. We've had our secrets and hardships. Maybe what we need now is a little more openness." He turned to Ethan, locking eyes with him. Our family might be messy, but love is never a mistake. If Sarah is happy, Brent looked ready to explode, his hands balled into fists at his sides. What if she gets hurt? What if it all goes wrong? I don't know. Sarah's voice broke, deflating the tension for just a moment. But I do know that I can't live my life based on what-ifs and maybes. No one knows what the future holds. Ryan, who had been quiet, finally took a deep breath, stepping forward beside Jake. We've all made our mistakes. We can't judge someone for finding love. If anything, we should commend each other for choosing to pursue happiness, even when it's scary. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him but knew they hadn't crossed the chasm yet. Aunt Marge, who had been silent until now, looked at Sarah with a mix of pride and fear, her brows knitting together. You've always been strong-willed, sweetheart. It's just, our family has been through so much. We can't pretend it's not complicated. Sarah took a step towards Aunt Marge. I want to be a part of this family, but I also want to find my own way. I need you all to see me as I am now, not just who I've always been. Aunt Marge's lips pressed into a thin line as uncertainty flickered in her eyes. The room had shifted, shadows of their previous concerns lingered but the possibility of understanding glowed faintly. Then, the door swung open again, and a familiar face stepped through. It was Sarah's old friend, Kelly, waving her hand with a bright smile. I was in the area. Can I come in? The energy shifted once more, a new potential entering the fray. The conversation would take yet another turn, and Jake could see uncertainty dance across Sarah's face again, but this time accompanied by a flicker of excitement. What would Kelly's unexpected arrival mean for the moment that seemed on the brink of transformation? Jake glanced at Ryan, who was already expecting the unpredictable shift. With a heart still racing, he wondered if they would be met with a new layer of acceptance or another layer of complexity entirely. Would Sarah's journey find new allies, or would this unravel the fragile threads they were hoping to weave together? As Kelly stepped into the living room, the atmosphere shifted from tense to electric. She radiated a warmth that flickered like candlelight. What is going on? She asked, glancing around at the crowd. Jake couldn't help but admire how her presence felt like a balm to the simmering strains around them. Just a family meeting, Brent said, and the sarcasm dripped from his tone. You've come at the right time. We're celebrating secrets. Kelly's brow arched, picking up on the discontent swirling around. Secrets? Oh boy, I better sit. She placed her hands on her hips, eyes sparkling with mischief. You know I love family drama. Isn't that what all families thrive on? Ryan joked, trying to lighten the mood, but Jake could see the impact of the gathered storm on his son's face. Very funny. Kelly crossed the room, landing next to Sarah. Are you okay? You look like you've been through the ringer. I'm trying to tell them about Ethan, Sarah replied, her voice shaky but firm. But it's not going as planned. Ethan, huh? Kelly turned to him with fresh curiosity. What makes you so special? The eyes of the room fell to him as if Kelly's words were a lifeline thrown into choppy waters. Ethan cleared his throat. I just want Sarah to be happy. I'll always support her. His earnestness calmed some of the tension, but Jake sensed the undercurrent of skepticism still rippling through the group. Kelly picked up on it too. Hey, it sounds like you're ready to make a stand. Do you all want to share what's bothering you? I'm all ears. Her enthusiasm felt genuine, a reminder that even in chaos, family connection could be cultivated. Kelly, it's more complicated than that, Aunt Marge interrupted, her voice gravelly. What if it impacts our family traditions? What about Sarah's future? What about it? Kelly shot back, fierce yet compassionate. This is about Sarah's happiness. And shouldn't family be about supporting each other? Jake felt a bubbling warmth surge in his chest. Perhaps that's what they needed, someone willing to navigate the tricky waters of acceptance with a fresh perspective. Exactly, Ryan nodded, hope blossoming. We can still keep our traditions alive while allowing space for who we truly are. Traditions are important, sure, Kelly agreed, her tone shifting. But don't you think change can make them even richer? The best families grow and adapt. Look at you all. You're standing here, and that essay start, right? Their eyes shifted, wrestling with the weight of her words. It was as if the fog lifted slightly, revealing the path forward. Jake took another breath, feeling the built-up anxiety softening within him. It's true. We can't let the fear of what-ifs shackle us. There's beauty in the messiness of it all. Then let us lean into it together. Kelly exclaimed, clapping her hands. Let us make this a celebration of your uniqueness. Sarah, let us hear more about Ethan. Everyone turned back to Sarah, who looked both empowered and terrified. Ethan is different. He listens, really listens. He challenges me and encourages me to be brave. The sincerity in her voice resonated in the room, a counterpoint to the previous tension that had filled every corner. Aunt Marge, her demeanor softening, finally spoke. We want to be part of your journey, Sarah. We really do. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Brent's expression shifted. But are you sure this is right for you? I've never been more sure, Brent, Sarah answered, a spark flickering in her eyes. I just need you all with me, as I navigate this unknown. Feeling Ryan's hand tighten around his, Jake took a step forward. So let us do it to grow together, to understand each other. We are family, despite the challenges. Kelly grinned while the corners of Sarah's mouth turned up too. The air around them felt charged with a new promise, a pledge to embrace love and acceptance even amidst confusion. You know, Kelly said with a wry smile, there's a whole world full of traditions out there, just waiting to be created, right? The laughter bubbled up, a sweet sound washing over them. Each voice arrowed in a shared recognition, the fragility and depth of love, the power of connection, and the profound beauty found in their messy, strange family. I like that. Sarah beamed, light spilling from her face. Traditions for us, and together, we can craft them. As their laughter rang through the room, Jake felt a warmth engulfing him, slowly melting away the anxiety. Perhaps it was an awkward beginning, but it could also be the start of something meaningful. After all, love was the deepest tradition, the heart of their family. And as they stepped forward, hand in hand, the room echoed not only with words but with a collective determination to honor both tradition and love in equal measure. Now, as they navigated this newfound path, Jake was ready to embrace the unknown. He thought, one step forward, one love-filled moment at a time. And then came a sudden realization, an urgent call to action simmered beneath the triumphant acceptance of the night. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and let me know in the comments how you felt about this emotional roller coaster of a story. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support means everything.